Hello, everyone. Nice to meet you. My name is Simon Yu. I'm the co-founder and CEO of StormX. I've been in the crypto industry for about 7 years now. It was very different. Conferences did not have as many people like this. I actually was in banking, and I was driving for Uber and Lyft just to get our startup kicked off. That was a very different fundraising environment because a lot of people at the time thought, hey, Bitcoin's related to Silk Road, Mt. Gox, all these news kept coming up, and everyone thought, like, a Bitcoin startup, are we trying to launder money? Are we trying to sell drugs? And it was a very different kind of environment. But we really started believing in the passion. It's just my co-founder and I, who was very technical. And for me, just being just stuck in a cubicle in banking and then realizing that, just from the Bitcoin technology that payment was really disrupted. I immediately knew that we had this opportunity to be able to send transactions to people for just fractions of a cent, which is truly revolutionary and have a really global impact. And I thought immediately how that banking industry was going to be disrupted. So to me, that was very fascinating. So it was worth for me to just start going all in. And yeah, this is StormX. It's our baby. And we're trying to create the easiest way for users to be able to earn using blockchain and cryptocurrency. So I know our title is Our Road to 1 Billion Users. And I want to chat about not just sort of what our accomplishments are, but at the same time, just we've had a lot of rough starts and just a rough transition through all the different ups and downs and just problems with product, regulatory challenges, consumers, a lot of just different barriers to entry that we have as a crypto company being in their early stages. So far, just a little background about us. We have about 4 million users so far in our application. We've rewarded about $4.5 million to date. We're available in 170 countries. And you might have heard of us recently because we were the first crypto company to be a Jersey Patch partner with an NBA team, which is the Portland Trail Blazers. How we first started with our crypto cashback journey. So my co-founder created this app that rewarded people 0.2 of a penny in Bitcoin for watching a short 30-second video. And so when I first heard about this, I was really interested in Bitcoin, and he was as well too. But in Seattle, I think there were at most 10 people that were actually interested in this back in 2014. But when he first made this application, we were looking at the user numbers, and it kept growing, triple-digit percentages every month. And I was really intrigued because it's such a small amount of money, and at first I thought it was dumb too. Why would anyone spend their time and effort to try to earn such a small amount? But it wasn't really the amount of money that was really intriguing, but the fact that we were able to send 5 cents or 10 cents of payment to users in India or China or Bangladesh. And if you were trying to do the same thing with fiat, it'd be nearly impossible because you have foreign transaction fees, you have wire transfer fees, and all these different spreads that the bank charges. It would cost you more than $100 in order to send payment. So for the first time, the technology allowed us to be inclusive from a global environment. And from a scaling perspective, you're not just regionally attached to a certain country or certain states, and the opportunity became endless because you can be global. And one of the reasons we were able to grow so quickly is the fact that we are in 170 countries right now. And so throughout our journey, we first started just with a pure Bitcoin rewards application, and then towards the beginning of 2017, we realized that Bitcoin didn't scale. So it was around $300-400 for a very long time, 2-3 years, and then all of a sudden, Bitcoin went up to $1,200 on some ETF news, and then dipped a little bit, and then went up to $3,000, and then everyone started using it because of a lot of hype and price speculation. And the transaction fee, there was definitely a barrier to limitation. So we ended up pivoting to Ethereum, and Ethereum at the time was a little bit better solution. It was about $10, and all of a sudden Ethereum went from $10 to $50, and then it went up to $430, and then a lot more hype and a lot more usage came in, and then the transaction fees also started getting really expensive. So for a company like ours, we're focusing on sort of the microtransactions, smaller rewards of couple cents to couple dollars. And if we're spending $5 to $10 in gas fees, the business model doesn't really work. And so we decided to create our own token by actually having our patented tech as well too that helps us batch with utilizing our smart contracts, and so we're able to minimize the costs in terms of sending out payments. And so when we first started, we focused more on the microtask features where people can check out different apps, products, and services and be able to earn small amounts of rewards through cryptocurrency. But there was some challenges in terms of building this because we're working on one side with very traditional advertisers, and on the user side, from a marketplace challenges, a lot of the users that wanted to earn these rewards came from emerging countries. And advertisers typically wanted more users from tier 1 countries, whereas some of our users were coming from tier 3 countries. So there was definitely a product market fit that we were trying to learn how to better judge. And then last year, we recently launched StormX shopping rewards, where you can shop from stores like Nike and eBay and 1,000+ stores where you can earn crypto cashback just from doing everyday things. And so when we're focusing on our products, our focus is to try to bring earning as easy as possible through one application. So my personal background and my co-founder as well too, like we had to self-fund our entire college education along with living expenses and everything, and it was really tough to try to find just a little bit of income that would help me live on a better day. My parents had declared bankruptcy, and because of that, I was working multiple jobs, and it was really tough to find a way to earn money. And so what we decided to focus on was there's no central kind of like one single platform where you can focus on and try to, give people an opportunity to earn. And if we could aggregate all of these different ways to earn money into one single platform and allow anyone from the world to be able to have access to it, then that's a true good use case to create, just because it's not just, if you look at Airbnb and Uber from a TAM perspective, you're looking at, okay, how many people are going to need taxis, or how many people are going to need lodging or hotel. In this case, is how many people are going to need money, whether that's for primary income or secondary income. It's something that everybody will need at one point in their lives, at least. So we try to really focus on user experience as much as possible. So most of our users come from a non-crypto native background. And so they don't really tend to understand, what are these wallet addresses? They don't understand, all these different DeFi terms and, the NFT boom and all that stuff. They're just simply looking for a way to earn. And we're just trying to put more margins into their wallets by using blockchain, by mitigating some of the fees, so we can pass on more cost savings to the users. So we have an Android app, we have an iOS, we have a Chrome extension, and we try to make that experience as easy as possible. And going back to sort of our Blazes partnership, it was really an awesome deal for us because some of crypto, as a crypto company, there's definitely challenges we face when we're trying to bring this to mass adoption. Right now, unfortunately, when you mentioned the word crypto, it's gotten a lot better in 2014, where people don't think you're selling drugs or doing money laundering or something like that. But the immediate thought that someone has is price speculation. And the immediate thought that someone is like, oh, you're in a crypto company. Oh, I bought some Dogecoin, or I bought some Shiba coin. I'm like, oh, and then I made 200-300% in a month or something like that. Or I bought Bitcoin at 8,000. But there's so many different use cases for blockchain and crypto, as I'm sure you guys have all seen from all these wonderful projects, is we have to get that mindset out of the traditional users, because the technology is really limitless. And with Web 3.0 and all these different use cases, not just the flashy, what's trendy and hot things like NFTs, but all these different use cases, let's get them focusing on, there's more use cases outside of just trading. And the Blazes partnership really helped us because people are starting to figure out, what is StormX? They're looking at it. They see our branding on the courtside logos and in the jerseys, and they start doing more research and finding out that there is a lot more out there. And it's very similar to sort of how the internet, when it began as well too. People just thought, this is for email and some of the more use cases. And now, the internet just consumes our everyday lives. And also, it helps us from a credibility perspective as well too, because unfortunately, building in crypto, there are still a lot of scams. And we've been building for a long time. I personally have been rug pulled multiple times. I'm sure some of you guys have as well. And it's just unfortunate. I know the regulators are coming in, but it seems like they're focusing more on the wrong side of things rather than trying to go and target actual scammers that are taking money and running away and buying some villas in Thailand or whatever. And those are really the types of frauds that we need to stop. And we're not quite there yet. There's still a lot of projects that are very scammy. And to associate crypto, oftentimes there is a negative association with some of those projects that are tied into it. So having that brand credibility and visibility are really awesome. And it's also, we've been seeing a lot of crypto partnerships with sports teams, not just ourselves, but companies like FTX and others as well. And so when we look at some of the some of the data with how sports audience relates to crypto, there's a very good synergy. A lot of Gen Y and Gen Z consumers are coming into crypto, and sports audience has a very good synergy with that, and it's a great first step into mass adoption. And there's other, from a product perspective, when we're looking at challenges to mass adoption, right? So, we have 4 million users, and it seems like if you say that to another crypto company, then it seems like it's a lot of users. But if you compare that to a traditional fintech or traditional tech company, 4 million is nothing, right? So you look at even WhatsApp or Instagram, they have billions of monthly active users. TikTok recently just reached 1 billion MAU as well, too. But in order for us to get to 1 billion MAU as any crypto company, we still need to figure out certain things. When we look at from our user data, gas fees are definitely one of the biggest challenges that users don't like paying, because who can afford $50 or $100 transaction fees for normal transactions, right? And most people can't. Most people won't. Only the people that got in crypto early or really into the whole trading and DeFi space consider this as sort of just a write-off for just interactions with the day-to-day basis. But normal people aren't able to afford those gas fees. So what we've done from our application is when we send the rewards out, we eat the costs. And again, going back to, we created a tech to minimize these costs, to not be able to charge ridiculous gas fees to users. But when we try to integrate some of the other like DeFi platforms and staking and all that stuff, there is gas fees associated with being on the Ethereum blockchain, which is sort of going back to how early we are in the technology. And if you look at Ethereum and how we were compared to the internet stages, right now I think we're where AOL was for dial-up and the internet speed, because it's expensive, it's very slow, it's clunky. You need a phone charger, and you need to be plugged into a phone device. And back when I was a kid, I got in trouble all the time because I was trying to download a game. It took 40 hours, and the phone was off the whole time. My dad would yell at me. But we're very in a similar situation right now too with Ethereum. It doesn't process as many transactions, but at the same time, it's been engraved for so long, and you need good wallets and exchange integrations in order to make some of the dApps work. And unfortunately, because Ethereum has been around the longest, it has the best interactions with some of these other products, which help mass adoption. But the trade-off is the fees could be a little expensive. But at the same time, there's some really awesome layer 1 companies that are coming out that have faster TPS. There's layer 2 solutions coming out for Ethereum as well. So again, it's just going back to just the time that we need in order to just evolve, in order to get to where gas fees are near zero, so we can interact with every transaction in the blockchain for virtually free. Also, another thing that's really challenging is the addresses, because for most crypto addresses, they're long texts that could be 0x, ABCD, 1, 2, 3, 4. And if you're trying to explain this to your grandma or your aunt or anyone else, it could be very tricky, because like what if you're off by 1 digit, and I don't want to risk sending $50 or $250 to someone and find out that I sent it to the wrong person because I can never get it back. That fear does become a barrier to a lot of people trying crypto for the first time. And we've seen some involvement with this. Ethereum, for example, has ENS, where you can have SimonU.eth, or you can have .eth domains that are just name-based. But one of the challenges for that is it is, again, very expensive to set up ENS, because gas fees typically will cost you around $100 or $200 at current prices to try to set those up. There's other platforms like Coinbase where they're integrated. You just have email address within the Coinbase application, then you can send it. Those are also very easier ways to get that started. And certain apps like Strike that just integrated with Twitter, for example, you just need a user account and a user ID, so it's more like a Venmo experience. So the user experience is definitely getting better, but we're still, again, a little bit early in terms of that. So FTX, awesome stuff. They're bringing so much mass adoption. there's bringing so much awareness through all these partnerships through sports and esports and all that stuff. But at the same time, when you're looking at just from a trading perspective, you have to also look at the market size of how many people are actually investors. And at the world, from an 8 billion user perspective, it's still a very small percentage in terms of actual number of investors that are going to be out there. So even though their business model is very profitable and it has a wide reach, for them to get 1 billion users, it'll be much harder just because there is a financial gap that you need in order to start investing. And so for us, we're thinking of things more simple. You don't need to invest. You don't need to have any startup capital. Anyone can get started. To start using our application, you can shop from any of our stores, complete some microtasks, do some surveys, and find different ways to just start earning your first crypto. And you don't have to risk your money. So it's an easier barrier to entry. And so this is what our app looks like. Again, we're focusing a lot on user experience because crypto apps could be very clunky and very scary for a lot of first-time users. And yeah, our total addressable market is 3 billion users. And it's again going back to how many people at the end of the day is going to need to earn money. And that's what we're trying to focus on. And we're really trying to put blockchain and crypto in the back end. So when people think about it, think about our app, they don't think about crypto or blockchain as much, but they think about just using it so they can get rewarded. Because when you think about the ultimate user experience at the end of the day, when you're using a refrigerator, right? You're not thinking about how does this refrigerator work? Okay, is it with the cooling processor? Is all these motors? And do I have to actually understand how this refrigerator works? Or do I just want my food to be cold and it works and it's cost efficient? And it's usually the latter. And that's how we view things, and that's our goal. So I mean, it really is just a matter of time. And going back to sort of all the points that I've addressed, it has evolved quite a bit in the last 7 years, and it does continue evolving as more capital comes, more talent keeps coming into this industry, and the technology continues getting better from the wallets and exchanges and the dApps and layer 1s, layer 2s, and it's been really exciting to see. But we're still early, so to anyone that hasn't really joined crypto yet or is thinking about joining crypto, I still think that there's a massive upside at this point to start building and start, going into, just trying to solve the unknowns, because there's definitely a lot of problems to be solved. Yeah, so thank you very much. We also have a booth over there. If you have any questions, you can feel free to reach out to us.
Awesome. Excellent. Thank you so much, Simon. Big round of applause for Simon.